Welcome to our first show.
Here's what's coming up.
Reo shows us his winter wave arsenal.
Rob Douglas takes us down Luderitz's super narrow speed strip.
Lewis is up to his old tricks again.
We have a nose around John Bilderback's North Shore pad. And move of the month.
If you still haven't seen the footage of Lewis Crathern jumping over Brighton Pier a few weeks ago, you probably won't find your way to this video either.
Judging by the hundreds of thousands of views his clips have now had online, we reckon it's pretty legendary stuff.
But after jumping over Worthing Pier last year, would the massive Brighton Pier be a bit more of a challenge for the ex-British freestyle champion?
Good evening. An act of incredible bravery or reckless bravado. A kite surfer has been filmed flying his board over a pier as people watch from below.
This thing's massive. How did it feel compared to the Worthing jump you did last year?
Yeah, it felt like I hit this one a bit bigger. Obviously the pier sticks out of the water a bit more than Worthing. And also it faces a slightly different angle. It faces a bit more southwest, this pier, whereas Worthing's facing a bit more of a southeast, so I had to have the wind angles be right, and also the kickers had to be perfect on the day too. Basically where we're standing here is the point of no return. With the waves crashing in and whatnot, you can't really be in this area, especially at high tide. So when you do come into this area, I probably could have still got out of it and bailed it on the beach, but I wouldn't have had anyone there. It's people around, it's a bit dangerous. So once you get to this stage, really, you're committed, and the closer and closer you get, you have to take it easy. You can't be doing anything stupid around this sort of area, but then it just puts you in a place where it'll give you a chance if the right wave comes in, and as I said, it did. So I'd marked out where I wanted to be going over a few weeks before, like the sort of easiest place, which would take me further away from the roller coaster rides. I couldn't go too close to that, and obviously the fish and chip shop. But my main concern was the flagpoles. They're the biggest issue there, because you can have a perfect big jump and you still might be in trouble. So the angle was pretty much straight at that flagpole by the fish and chip shop. And once I had that angle and the wave looked so perfectly timed, I had really, if you look back, a really nice bit of flat water to keep going on. It wasn't too much chop to deal with there. It's pretty straightforward boost as far as boosting goes.
The distance you took off from the pier, I mean the stills picture looks amazing, because the kite's sort of almost going over the pier and it looks like you're going to get sort of pulled into it, but there was a bit of distance there, wasn't there?
Oh well, there was enough. I was a lot further away from Worthing Pier upwind, like quite far in the end, substantially amount, but I think the angle of it led me in a bit. It actually goes in the pier just at that point, so I could get that little bit closer. You really want to be out doing this sort of stuff when you can hardly hold the kite, so you don't have to worry about too much entrance speed and getting everything perfect. You just want to wham it and get the height.
So, so can you talk us through the jump from a kiter's perspective, sort of going from the setup to what it's like flying over to kite looping away from it?
I think it's quite simple, really. I think every kiter's been in that situation where they've been out and seen a flat bit of water and seen the perfect wave, and you go full whack at it. It's just holding your edge and timing it right. With the kite loops at the end, that was more of I think something was happening with the wind, either coming round or rotoring, that I got held up. But it's actually really nice descent. It's a nice angle. You know, when my nan's happy with it and people like that, even her age group can appreciate it, and that's all that matters to me. As long as people realise that I try and add as much safety as I can into this.
American Rob Douglas finally managed to wrestle the speed sailing record of the French at the Luderitz speed event held in Namibia this October, with an average pace of 55.56 knots over 500 metres.
What's it like locking yourself away for a month on the edge of the desert and hammering down a frighteningly narrow track at over 60 miles an hour? We asked the fastest man in the world.
We were hitting the start at 49 knots this year, maybe 50 sometimes, but we should be hitting the start at 54 plus 55 knots. And I think you see that when speed spots, when they mature and they get faster and faster, it's sooner or later it's just like a board or a kite. The spot itself is about to see its limits. But if they do some things there, then you're gonna run into a kind of a narrow window of opportunity. But if they dig that trench, put it offshore, fill it full of water, and give us some good, little bit more distance to run in, like I said, the outright record is going to be pushing 60 knots pretty quickly. That my coach Mike Gephardt and myself said, you know what, the day before, we said it's going to be between 2 and 3. That's the optimum time that the wind is really strong. That's the best angle. It was extremely shallow and extremely narrow. And Mike said, hey, let's do a run. You can do a run. Let's see what we do. I got it right at the end. right at the last probably 50 meters, you can see me I'm high on the course, and then I bear off right to go to the finish line, and as I'm raising the kite, I'm accelerating, but that right there, I pegged it at about 58.1, 58.2 knots, and that was the big difference. When the water is shallow, which of course makes it flatter in the trench, then you have an arrival issue with the amount of water at the exit. I broke the big bone in my wrist. They were able to kind of go in there under surgery and put a titanium plate in there, and right now I'm probably back to 50% strength. Yep, if I had to do it again, I would do it again, but no more. Physically we can deal with it, but Luderitz is also a mental challenge, and you keep on pushing it mentally for so long, and to be able to walk away with a world record there after battling those guys was just awesome for me.
There's something special about riding with short lines. Here's an Arish video that shows you a little more about why.
For 2011, Arish introduces a short line specific kite, the Access. Shoreline kiteboarding is a whole new sensation. Aside from being much safer, it opens up areas to launching and landing that you would never likely consider. So it takes up much less room. Your footprint on the water, your area of influence on short lines is greatly reduced. So this allows beginners to feel that much more comfortable being in the water and being around other water users. The Access was designed specifically for use on short lines. The Access bar is essentially a modified smart bar with 12-meter lines that are adjustable to be used in 6-meter, 9-meter, or 12-meter configurations. The kite features a special geometry that makes it relaunch incredibly well. It's got this very deep profile that enables the kite to sit further back in the window and give you that constant low-end pull that you require from kiting on short lines. The Access features a simple 3-strut configuration which contributes to its efficiency and stability. As well as having all the hardcore construction details of all Arish kites, the Access comes with the V3 bridle system, so it offers incredible range of D-power and safety, as well as a 1-pump inflation system. The kite comes in 2 different sizes, a 13-meter for lighter wind and a 10-meter for stronger wind days. One of the things that I really enjoy about shortline kiting is that it opens up the door for kiting new places. I can throw one kite in a board in my car, and if I see wind, I can just go find a launch area and pretty successfully get out on the water.
Winter sees all the serious big wave riders heading to the north shores of Maui and Oahu in search of the biggest swell of the year. Reo Stevens grew up on Oahu, he's seen it all before, and we reckon he is one of the best all-round high-performance wave riders out there.
Strapped, strapless, hooked in and unhooked, he's got it all covered. So who better to ask about the differences between a thruster and a quad, or how to set up your foot straps? We asked Reo to run us through his current North Shore quiver.
How's it going? This is Reo Stevens coming at you from the North Shore of Oahu, and I'm going to go over my 2010-2011 Nash surfboard quiver for the upcoming winter. It's pretty much my go-to board. Find myself using it probably 80% of the time. It doesn't really matter what the conditions are, and slop to pretty good waves. You can make it work simply just by moving your back foot around a lot. Bounce back between the two, but a thruster gives a nice positive feeling. Not quite as fast as a quad, but definitely a little more surfboardish. You get a nice top to bottom rail, and you can create a nice smooth even cut back with them. Also a little sensitive to where your foot is, but not quite as much as a quad. Finally, and definitely not least, is the 510 gun. Definitely the prettiest board out of the quiver. It's got a really nice bamboo veneer laminate. And really small. The dimensions are a lot more narrower, a lot thinner. Definitely requires a lot of bigger wave, or at least a lot more kite to keep you going. My 511 that I used last year, I had a few select days on it. Definitely caught a few big ones and actually towed with it a few days, just normally surfing. No kite involved, and worked pretty well for that as well. When you lay the board on rail, you have 2 solid fins placed firmly in the water, giving it a lot of drive, and when you flatten it up, you've got 2 sets of side fins, creating lift, and really makes the board a whole lot faster. I find myself riding strapless a lot more these days. I'm having a lot of fun with it, being able to move your feet around, and you get different arcs and turns out of the boards. But on the bigger days when things get a little bit more bumpy and I find myself falling a lot more, when I just basically want to come up and tag the lip as hard as I can, I throw some foot straps on it. For riding strapless, I really like the versatility of being able to put my foot strap further back. I've actually taken the back kick pad and placed it about another 2 inches further back, so I can really get back on that tail and throw the tail out, slip it out. You want to get that really aggressive, positive feel. You want to make sure when you push on that tail that the fins are going to bite. Place your back foot further forward. When you want it to slip out, get a little bit more of a snappy turn, place your back foot a little bit further back. As far as front foot placement, for me, when I ride strapped with this board, I take it on the natural or the normal Nash stock setting and put it second foot strap hole further forward. Gives me a pretty wide, firm stance. So there you have it. There's my 2010-2011 winter season quiver. Everything's straight out of the catalog. It's working well, working great. Can't wait to get out there and get on them.
Yeah, doggy.
Now, on the subject of action DVDs, do you think there's still a market for them now so many riders are making their own and putting them online?
Funny you should ask that. Kiteworld stuff photographer John Bilderback thinks so. He released Big Windy earlier this year, his second action DVD in as many years.
Hi, I'm John Bilderback. I grew up on the East Coast of the United States. I went to college in San Diego, California. Surfing Magazine, who I worked for at the time, offered to pay me more money if I would move to Hawaii. I was persuaded, and I've been here ever since. About 20 years now I've lived on the North Shore. Surfing and photography first merged for me in college when a friend of mine and I chipped in for a long telephoto lens so that we could shoot each other. And eventually we started to shoot good surfers. That was about 30 years ago now. Still photography is still very important to me. I love to indulge in the little frozen moments that you get, little flashes of time that you can stop and explore, things that happen too quick otherwise. Artistically, there's a lot of things that you can do with film that you just can't do with a still photograph, so it's a love of mine, and hopefully we make something that's good enough that other people will appreciate it as well. Big Windy is a movie about the power of the wind. You look at the way the world is today, and wind and alternative energies have to be part of the solution. I want people to know this is a better way to tow into a wave. This is a way that you can go places and be part of things without doing damage. And you can also hit the lip harder than you've ever hit it before surfing and fly out the back and get 20 waves in an hour. So we want to have big cuts, a lot of beautiful images, and yeah, really show the beauty of kite surfing. We wanted to deliver on HD, so that's why we have a Blu-ray disc available. It's incredible the difference, it's incredible the detail that you get. The story of the name is when we were in Indonesia, the little kids would wait for us outside in the morning, and we'd come out to check the wind, and they'd run up and they'd say, Mr. John, coming big windy, coming big windy. So I started to think of it as almost a person, Big Windy, and how we chase him around, and yeah, hopefully we got him.
Now, Move of the Month. Couldn't be easier. Pick out your best from these videos and vote online on our Facebook fan page.
But we give it names.
Thanks for watching. We want to know what you think. Give us your feedback at our Facebook fan page.
And playing us out this episode, we've chosen a My Ride video from the popular Cabrina series. See you next time on the Kite Show.
To me, kiteboarding is all about buying new shoes, and fashion, and image, and being better than other people, and looking down at them, and laughing at them, and realizing I'm not looking down, but looking up, and I'm laughing at myself. Don't take kiteboarding or life too seriously. My name is Jason Stone. This is your world. This is my ride.